everybody. Welcome to this special episode of The Final Whistle. Today, we're taking a deeper dive into English Premier League teams' transfer dealings. We've spoken briefly about Liverpool's transfer and Manchester United transfer, but today we're going to focus on the outlay of all the 20 Premier League teams and then pick traditional top six because last season we saw they were not the top six. So I'm going to use the word traditional top six. Then talk about the players that they've brought in.
You know, Niji, it's funny you talking about top six when last week you just said Manchester United is a mid-table team.
That's why I said what happened last season. So we're going to be calling it a traditional top six. So we'll be able to tell the difference between those teams that are now mid-table teams and the teams that are still challenging for something in England. Oh, I'm your
You're
host.
welcome. Manchester United fans are forgiving you.
I don't even need their forgiveness. So, okay, yesterday, BBC released are we going to call it a picture or an image that actually shows how much each clubs has spent so far as at the 25th of July, 2025. Season starts in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And looking at the list, we know like the biggest team that have spent the most, even without looking at that, is Liverpool. And then next on that list is Chelsea, and then Manchester United and Arsenal. And it goes all the way down to Crystal Palace that have only spent like £6 million so far. But looking at that list, what actually pops out to you if you're a football director of one of those clubs, what are you thinking right now about what other teams are doing and how to get into the action?
Yeah, I think if I'm to answer your question straight, if I'm the sporting director of all of these clubs, I think to be honest, most of these clubs have had good deals. They've made good decisions, in my own opinion. Like
So
starting
far.
from Arsenal down to Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, they've all made good decision in terms of their signing. We're going to look at them individually, like you
Uh,
said, and see one of the reasons why I felt like they've all made good decisions. And I don't know where you want us to start from or which team you want us to pick from. I know we've touched on Liverpool a little bit.
and
We've touched on
Manchester
Manchester
United.
United a little bit in the last 2 weeks.
Well,
So I don't know where do you want us to start from.
today actually from the chat, after Liverpool, we'll still talk about Liverpool because I think we really focused a little about their top signings and everything. But going on next on the chat of the team that has spent the
I
most
think
is
maybe
Chelsea.
before we go to the next on the chat, maybe let's quickly have a quick chat around Liverpool. I think because something is happening in the markets now, and I think let's just talk about those three things, and we probably can move away from Liverpool. So the thing is, yesterday they announced. I think there was an announcement that Liverpool have not listed Nunes and Diaz as part of their preseason plan. So with the expectation that they will be leaving the team this summer. There has been interest from Bayern Munich. I think negotiation have started between Bayern Munich and Liverpool for Diaz
For
actually.
Diaz,
So
yes.
my belief is just that maybe is the valuation. They haven't agreed on valuation, and that's the only
Mhm.
thing holding the deal from what the transfer rumor is looking like. Nunes, I'm not sure. I've not heard of anything concrete from any team, but we know that is out of the preseason plan. The team wants to cash out on him. So with that said, those two players aside, there's also there's also news around Isak. The fact that Isak has now said to Newcastle that he wants out, he wants to try other options and other teams. And with what I think Fabrizio posted something this morning to say that Isak is not going to Saudi Arabia and Isak is specifically looking at Liverpool. What do you
And
think? What do you think? Will
so
Liverpool just get in etiquette and Isak considering Liverpool the possibility of Nunes and Diaz going? What do you
so
think
I
about that?
I actually think that Isaac deal and whatever happened to Nunes is going to go like hand in hand with each other. And one reason why I also think that is because if you look at before they bought what's his name Ekitike, right? They went to Newcastle for Isaac, and then Newcastle was like, no, we're not selling. And then they bought Ekitike
Yeah.
for 75 million euros that they bought him for. And then like 2 days later, dropped the banger that I want to leave Newcastle. I don't want to be considered for next season and everything. And then Liverpool was like, oh, then we're going to go back for our main, who was our main target in the first place. that alone will definitely make Nunes an unwanted human being because now they have a KTK and then they will, if they get Isak for whatever amount they are going to get him for, which I think is going to be another British transfer record smashed in the same window. They've already smashed one with Waze. Now they're going to go ahead and smash another one with
Yeah,
Isak. As an opposition fan, I think what me I'll be worried about is are they able to do all these things without the threat of maybe they're going to break PSR or whatever. I know they didn't spend last season, but you can't just come
yeah,
this season and
I
spend.
think PSR. I don't think PSR is going to be an issue for them, considering the fact that PSR actually look at three years. I think 3 seasons,
Yeah, it does.
and
But do you remember there was
in the
something that
last
was
two.
released? When was it? Was it beginning of preseason about the team that have Eddie PSR? I don't think Liverpool was in the top. I'm going to look for that chat again, but I don't think I don't remember if Liverpool was in the top five of teams that actually have LDPSR. I know Chelsea was top,
Yeah. So
and then Leicester was
the
somewhere
thing is,
there.
I saw there was I saw a chart like that. I was showing the threshold to which teams can spend,
Yeah,
but that's one thing. We can't also forget the fact that there's also the PSR rule that says that um teams have 3 years 3 years season threshold not to exceed losses of about £100 million or so. So this is the season Liverpool is just sending just pending heavily. It hasn't ended. And again, if they are able to get Diaz, get Nunes out of the window, there's no there's we can't
but we
outrightly
know,
say
but we
Liverpool will
know
be able
Nunes is not
to.
going to. Nobody is going to buy Nunes for how much Liverpool is buying.
Nay, you can't be sure of anything with Saudi Arabia. Trust me.
Well,
So
but that's if Nunes wants to go to Saudi though, because a lot of big players have been turning them down. But that aside, like, I think Liverpool are doing well in the
Yeah,
transfer
that
window.
aside,
They're buying the
let's not waste
players.
time on
So
Liverpool. I only just wanted to look at the possibility again for you, all you Premier League teams. If Isak should move to Liverpool, then you guys might probably be kissing the Premier League away to Liverpool again.
I don't think so. But that's not a discussion for today. So like,
Yeah,
and
that's my discussion for today.
after Liverpool, we know the team. Everybody knows the obvious team that will be spending so much on buying all these young players, and which is Chelsea. And they've spent so far about 218 million on players like Gittens, Joao Pedro, Delap. They finally bought Estavio in, and then this guy Esugo from Sporting CP, and I think they bought another side again. So. What do you think this
Yeah,
signing is
and then
saying
with
about
Pedro and
Chelsea?
Delap that they have.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, most of these clubs have had good signings. I think if you look at the pool of Chelsea signings, I would say they
Uh-huh.
have about four players that they actually need. Pedro coming in. Pedro has shown in the Club World Cup in semi-final
Yeah,
and
so we know
final,
Pedro is
scoring in
going
semi-final
straight
and
into the
final that
squad.
he's actually the kind of player that they need. Delap deputizing him. There's already news of Chelsea wanting Jackson out of the team as well.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who's going to buy him anyways, but
For the price they are
anyways,
even
they
quoting
want
for, I
Jackson
don't I
out.
don't think there will be any team.
Yeah, if they're able to get Jackson out, I think they have a balance up front in terms of Pedro and
Hmm.
Delap. And again, they've Sancho has gone back to Manchester United, so with Estavo coming, that's another. They have other options on the week, so another good signing in there. With Gittels anyway, I don't know how it's going to fit in, but it's another.
Another good play.
It's not
Well,
any signing that I specifically can have a conversation about what his
I
potential
I did
impact
watch
will
him
be
a
on the
little
team or not.
bit um at Dortmund. Gittens actually reminds me of our own darling Pius Sekedia and your Doku, but I hope it comes
Yeah,
good for
no.
them.
That's the thing is the reason why I'm not going to speak about his impact is because from the wings they have Neto already, right?
Uh-huh.
And Neto, well, anyway, Neto can play any of those wings with Estavo
Yeah, he
coming
can
in.
play on the other
We've seen
side.
what happened in the Club World Cup. We what happened in the Club World Cup. Now we can see we've all seen the fact that Maresca is going to throw Palmer into the wing in some games,
Hmm.
maybe big games. So we're gonna see a repeat of that. Maybe when he's playing Arsenal, City, or Man, you probably chose Palmer to the wing so he can have a compact midfield. So we're gonna see a repetition of that coming in because he has done it twice in the Club World Cup. It has worked for him against PSG. I want to trust that he's gonna try it again. So with that, I don't know, but anyways, it's a good signing.
That might
We'll
be their
see.
downfall too.
We'll see what happens. But I think again, speaking of prospects. There've also been news about Chelsea trying to bring in another AHEM, maybe one or two. We've seen
Yeah.
them. There's talks around Xavi Simons. There's talks around I think Juventus has just rejected their offer for this Turkish guy. um,
Is it
Udes.
Zildis or Udis or what his name is?
Yeah, Udes. So I think they are not done in the transfer market. I think they still have one or two players coming in.
Yeah,
So
and I also
again,
think most of the buyings they've been buying will actually there are people that should be able to slot into their squad easily, and hopefully they do and they gel. So and this another thing we've spoken about a lot, especially with Kuna and the two signings that they've made is Manchester United, which is third on the list of how much they've spent so far.
I
And
think we had a full episode on we had
yeah, and is this
United.
one? They've only bought like those two important player and one a Diego Leon.
Oh,
So
but
I
if we
don't.
touch on their prospects, we can touch on their prospect anyways.
But does it look like United are they done in the market? Do you think they're done in the market, or they still need more people to be able to even get to the level they think they want to
With
get
the
to?
rumors going around, they are not done. They are not done because we've seen transfer rumors that Manchester United is trying to approach Aston Villa for Watkins. We've also
Uh-huh.
seen news like Aston Villa rejecting their offer for Martinez as well.
Yeah,
They
because
are
they
also trying
wanted
to get.
Martinez on
I
loan
think
for
they're also
some
trying to
reason.
consider. Yeah, yeah. So which means that they are still looking at the goalkeeper position and looking at the striker. So I
Striker
think
position.
so. So let's not be shocked if they get one or two players into those positions. So I think they are not done. They are not done
Yeah, at this
with their
point, yeah,
signings.
nothing shocks me about United anymore. And then that takes me to my darling team in North London, the best team in London, the biggest team in London actually, Arsenal. Arsenal, the Gunners.
Yeah,
And so
the
far,
Gunners.
I'm going to I'm going to say like our transfer window for me has been maybe 8/10. And the only reason I'm giving it 8/10 is because we've still not been able. Yeah, there are rumors. Well, not rumor anymore now that we've signed Gio, we've finalized the deal. But until they actually announce the guy,
Yeah.
I'm still going to stay on 8/10 because it felt like we wanted to do everything that we can do in this window so that we'll be able to compete this season without any excuse. And then that helped us in getting a backup goalie in Kepa, getting Zubimendi in, getting a backup defender in Mosquera, and then getting Noni Madueke, which shocked a lot of people because everybody was like, "Why would Arsenal go for Noni?" And so far, I think we've been able to get the backup positions that we need filled, and now we need to get that striker sorted, and then we can move on to the other stuff, like to the other rumors if they're true. But that's for me as an Arsenal. What do you think? Has Arsenal been eating the transfer window well? Have they done well so far, or you think we are still just
I think no, I think I'm just adding a little to what you said. For me, it's a 10/10 transfer window for Arsenal so far.
even without
And
this guy yet
Arsenal is with their transfer window bounce aside, I think I'm tipping Arsenal as the favourites for the league. Why am I saying that?
over Liverpool?
Unlike Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United are that are bringing in new players into their starting 11. I think
Uh-huh.
with what Liverpool has done, Liverpool is going to have minimum of about 4 or 5 new players going into their starting 11. Manchester City is going to have almost the same thing between January and summer. We're going to have close to about 4 players going to Manchester City 11. So
Uh-huh.
all of these for me, I still need to go into that season to see how these players are going to fit together. If you understand what I mean. For
Yeah,
Manchester United as well, there's an Mbwamo, there's Kuna that they
that's going
contribute a
to
lot of
change,
goals.
probably change
Most
their
of their
team
games are
dynamics.
around goal contributions.
Yeah.
Yeah, to change the team dynamics. How do they? But for Arsenal, Arsenal has gone into signings that are plugging the right. They are going into their, it's just like you buying into the right slots, spending the
Yeah.
right money on the right thing. Arsenal got Kepa is cover. That's exactly what they need. Arsenal
Mm-hmm.
got, I think those that are going into the first 11 in Arsenal team straight from this transfer window is going to be Jokeres and Zubi. And that's not too much. You
Yeah.
understand? That's not too much for a team. They're not
Yeah.
having above that too. None is going to be a cover for Saka, and he's probably going to
Mhm.
give Martinelli a run for his money. If Martinelli is not standing
Yeah.
firm, none is
So
another player
we
that can play from that left wing. It's a
so
10
we
over 10
focus.
for me, to be honest. Bracket.
Yeah, we I think yeah the club really focused on plugging the holes because the fans have always cried that, oh, especially during injury crisis, we don't have quality backups. And with Nani coming in and Kepa coming in, at least Kepa can have a run during the cup competitions. And Nani can also have a run once
Yeah,
in a while,
exactly.
especially if maybe Saka goes down or Martinelli goes down or something weird happens. And we still have time.
Another thing. I know we didn't agree on this. I know we didn't agree on Noni specifically. I am not saying. I've gone back to look at some of Noni's highlights, which probably
Uh-huh.
we might show down here. I've gone to look at some of Noni's highlights in Chelsea. You see, Noni is not just only cover for Saka. Noni has a very, very good feet when he's coming from the left wing as
From the
well. He
left.
knows how to cut in that way. He knows how to
Uh-huh.
deliver crosses. And with Jokeres coming in, to be honest, we strikers of Jokeres physique, you can't predict anything. They could do anything. They can
Yeah,
always do
but
anything.
but Nani,
They
I
can
will
do
still tell you
anything.
the same thing. Nani is not starting over Martinelli. That's our star. Now let's
We
move
would
on to the
see. We will
next
see
team.
as
We
it
will
goes.
move on to the next team on our list, which is your darling club, Manchester City. And so far, you guys have been humble in the market. I know, like rich people trying to let other poor people go first. So you've
We are not
spent like
humble.
small
We've only
money.
just gone for what we need.
Because that's rich people doings
You
now.
know the
Rich
thing
people will be
is,
like, I want these poor people to go and do
what?
this year.
Let me
That's what you
say.
guys
Let
are
me say
doing.
something
Let
about
everybody
Manchester
else
City.
spend the money.
Let me say something about Manchester City. There's a perception that because Manchester City is owned by the Arabs, so the
Uh-huh.
perception that Manchester City just buy for bullying sake. But I can tell you categorically, if anyone goes in there, Manchester City don't buy to bully. And I've said it before. That's why Manchester City don't buy high profile. If you go and look at
So,
most of our signings, apart from Ireland, most of the players are players that people probably don't really. They are not names that are all over the places. You understand?
of
Going
course.
into
You of
yeah,
the
going
best
into this
market with
summer.
your
So we only always buy what we need, actually, to be honest. And I
I
think the only
actually
thing
do
left,
agree with that.
I
I
think
do agree.
I think City should consider buying a right back, to be honest. That's all I feel like. We should buy a right back.
But you
There's
and I
news
both know Pep
around
has Pep used a
Livramento.
traditional right back in a while since Walker.
Walker is a traditional right back. Daniel's is a
I said
traditional
since
right back.
Walker,
Philip
they've
Lam is
started
a
benching
traditional.
Walker as if used or if Walker is injured. Everybody that have stepped in were not
But
traditional right back.
Walker was. It's just last season. Last season was the only time Walker was really, really out of the team. And the season before, Akonji played as right back a little during that
Uh-huh.
treble run, and that was because Pep was doing a lot of the inverted stones going
Yeah.
into the middle. So it looks like we going back traditional. I will probably. I
So you,
understand
so
Pep's
you
point
think
or Manchester
City should
City's
still buy
point.
a right back?
If we get it right back, then I would say we are good to go.
So that for
That's the
you
only weak point.
that's the only missing piece in your team right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the only missing piece. Yeah.
I actually say I agree with a lot of signings that Pep had made this season so far, especially with Tijani. Because one thing that you guys suffered from last season when Rodri went down was many of your midfielders that were supposed to step up, they didn't really show up. So with Tijani this season, at least you people will have peace of mind that okay, you have somebody now that can actually play in that midfield, whether Rodri is there or Rodri is not. He's going to complement Rodri. And with Nuri, I feel like you guys just stole that from everybody. But I don't have anything much to say. And that's why I call you guys bullies and rich people that let other people be like, poor people, I want you to feel among today. You know, guys spend the money. I will wait for you and I will spend my own money later. It's okay.
We
We
don't actually
understand.
drag signing. We don't drag signing with you
We
guys.
understand. No,
For the funniest part,
rich people know they make noise
most of
before now.
you, most of you are bullied. You know what? Most of you are bullied Manchester City in the market. When Arsenal wanted to buy Declan Rice, Manchester City was also bidding for it, but we couldn't just
And that was
compete. We
two
left the
seasons
deal.
ago
It has
now.
happened again with Wade. It has also happened with Wade. Liverpool has also been able to bully. So most times when it comes to high profile signing, we get bullied out of
It's
the deal.
bully. Let's go to the stepchild of the top six that nobody likes talking about. Tottenham. They've they've uh, they've tried so far this season. They've spent about 110 million so far this season. But if you look at the players that they've bought, I think it's only Kudus that is, and then maybe the Danso guy who is a center back from Lens that they are high profile. Because I don't want to call Tel. We saw Tel play for them on loan from January to the end of the season. I still don't understand the reason why they decided to make the signing permanent because the guy didn't really play for them. But then, so the only high profile player that I think they've brought in is Kudus. So do you think Spurs will still be able to like compete this season or they are doomed? They are going to be mid table again this season?
I think, to be honest, if you look at Spurs, for me, I think from the front, Spurs looks all right. They looks
Uh-huh.
complete from the front for me because they have players that are capable of starting and posting that threat, and they have covers for them at the same time. If you come to the back, they also look complete compared to last season when there were issues when
They had the injury
Romero and
crisis.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, they had injury crisis. But now, but my only challenge with Spurs is if there's anything, I don't know why Spurs is not probably going for a proper central midfielder because Madison is not. I think they bought a midfielder.
Maybe they are hoping. No, they've not bought any midfielder. They've bought a
No, I
right
think
winger.
Spurs got an AM, didn't they?
No, not yet.
Didn't they buy?
No, they don't have any
Oh,
attacking midfielder right now. So far, they've bought Kudus, Tel, Danso, Fuskovic, and a Japanese player who is Kota Takai. So far,
trying to remember because to me that would be the
they tried
only that would
to
be the
get
only area
Mbuemo
I think.
when Manchester United bid for Mbuemo. They tried to push
Oh,
the
I know,
amount
I
in
know,
there.
I know. Now I know what I was thinking of. You know, they tried getting this guy, this Nottingham Forest guy.
Gibbs White,
What's his name? They
Gibbs
tried
White.
getting Gibbs White, but there was an issue. Nottingham Forest, yeah, Nottingham Forest queried the deal and
Yeah,
said
Nottingham
they've
Forest is.
had.
I think
So
they reported
normally,
them to the league.
normally, if they can wrap up that deal, then I would see them as a complete
I
team.
personally
They
don't think it's
need
going
if
to happen
either
again.
Gibbs White or if okay, if not Gibbs White, then I think they should probably get out because Madison is not reliable in terms
Yeah,
of
he's not. That
injury.
that one we can actually
In
agree
and
on.
out,
So
he's an
far,
in and out player, and I don't know if Kulusevski is going to come back and play AM. I don't see him as that. I just think they should get a central midfielder or attacking midfielder
okay.
for them to complete that squad.
Well, and also, they might lose Son to MLS, so he's kind of But well, anyway, that's transfer dealing so far. But real quick, out of the top six teams, which one do you think is the most prepared right now based on who they've signed, and who is least prepared right now based on who they've signed and who they've lost?
Arsenal 10/10 is the most prepared. Arsenal 10/10 is the most
For me,
prepared
I would
team.
think it's Liverpool because
Um,
I don't know. But why are you going with Arsenal?
No, I've told you. You see, the best signings most times is not all about high profile or amount is paid because sometimes
Hmm.
you can be spending and you are building. If you understand what I mean, there are
Yep.
periods where you are spending, you are building.
Hmm.
Sometimes it takes you 2, 3 windows, or sometimes you've completed your signings, but you just need time to tell you what those signing is going to offer you or what they are going to offer you collectively. You understand? That's the thing around Liverpool. For me, Liverpool have quality players in terms of quality signings. Frimpong is a good player. Kakes is a good player. Witt is a good player. You understand? Is a good player. But the problem is this: these are players that are all going to start. All these four players I mentioned are going to start. Now, at the fact that are going to start is also going to distort the team. Witt is coming in. There's possibility that we have Zoboslai going out of the team. Do you understand? How they are going
Yeah.
to fit in together is one question. But you see, for
Okay.
Arsenal, that's not the question for Arsenal. The question for
Okay.
Arsenal is Zubimendi is coming straight into the team. He's not Zubimendi is not distorting anything. Partey has gone. Zubimendi is coming into play as DM. If Zubimendi is not fitting in quickly, there's a knockout that Arsenal has gotten.
Yeah.
Nogat is a
True.
Premier League player. That is a cover. We've seen him in Brentford. He's a fantastic DM. So
Mhm.
he's there to also cover those lapses. If two of them collectively, if they don't perform, Rice can play as DM. We've seen this happen. Do you understand?
Ah,
Rice can play as
Rise as a
DM.
DM.
Then we know we come back.
You know how I
No,
feel
no,
about
I'm only
Rise playing
telling
as
you.
a
No,
DM.
I'm only drawing out. I'm drawing out possibilities in Arsenal to
No, no,
tell you
I
why
could
they don't have so
understand. I
much
could
distortion.
understand. Yeah, but
Rice can come into DM, Merino can go back into that midfield, and we have
mhm,
so distortion is not there. Jokeres again is going straight into 9. If Jokeres is not fitting in quickly, there's Kaya Vats that can still play
I
that
will go
false
back
9.
into the slump. Well, for me, I'll go with
So
Liverpool.
Arsenal looks like a 10/10 for me. They are the most prepared team. Unlike City and Liverpool, where I still need to see those signing in their first 10 games and the like. Right. So
I'll go with Liverpool for my most prepared, especially if they get Isak in. I feel like they will also be the team that's going to probably win the Premier League again because then they will have a striker that will be able to bang in the goals. That is not Nunes, So that's why. But for my least prepared, I'll go with Manchester United. Unfortunately, even though they've gotten Kona, they've gotten Buemo, I feel like they still haven't filled some of the voids that they need. They need to change their goalkeeper. One, they also need a striker. Two, And they need to decide if Dogu is left back and what's the other guy, Mazraoui is going to be the right back, or is going to
Let's
be the
not
other way
forget
around.
the transfer window is still young. Transfer window is still
Yeah,
young.
but it doesn't look like news has dried up for who Manchester United is chasing or who they are not chasing. But like you said, we might still be surprised. But that was my own least prepared. So who is your
Yeah,
least prepared?
see, sometimes the fact that Manchester United is even playing Arsenal first game of the season, sometimes they do what they do, and then it forces you, reminds you that you still need to strengthen this position. So
True,
he's still
true,
young, but
because Arsenal is going to feast.
I probably will pick Tottenham. I'll pick Tottenham as the least prepared, actually.
Oh,
And why am I
unfortunately.
picking Tottenham? I'm picking Tottenham because you see, for Manchester United, I have said this before. Manchester United finished 15th. The fact that they
Mhm.
finished 15th, for me, I don't see them having a terrible season, because
Because,
whatever they finish, wherever they finish, will be classified and will be termed progress.
but
So
Spurs
it
finished lower
speaks to
than
most
United
Manchester
now.
United fans now. Yeah, Spurs finished lower than United. Spurs sacked their coach because they told you that that's not where they belong. If you get it, Spurs won the Europa League. So Spurs is giving a claim to say, this is the chairman coming to say, we
Uh-huh.
finished 17th or we finished 16th. That's not where we belong. We
And we want
belong
to
to
do
top
better this
four.
season.
Spurs is going to be playing Champions League next season. And I
Mm-hmm.
still don't see that squad as a Champions League squad. And I still don't see that squad as a squad that fits what their chairman is saying. And why am I saying that? They need someone in that midfield. They need a
Yeah,
profile
they
in
do.
that midfield.
They do. They do. Well, and that rounds up our episode on transfer windows dealings for EPL clubs so far. Let's hear your take, comment, reshare. Let us know what you're thinking. If you also have the team that you feel like is most prepared and the least prepared team, and who do you think is going to actually put in a proper challenge, or if they are going to remain a mid-table team, let us know in the comment section. Thank you for listening to us, and from my co-host Adekunle, well, say goodbye to our fans. Thank
Cheers
you.
and stay safe, guys.